Imagine a mansion where every sound is controlled. The piano is played only by professionals. The maid's shoes are silent on the marble. Even laughter feels rehearsed, like it's trying to impress the chandeliers. That's the world millionaire Robert Blake built. Everything polished. Everything perfect. Everything expensive. Except for one room at the very end of the longest hallway. Behind that white door lived his 8-year-old son, Michael. Michael was autistic. He didn't care about marble floors or designer suits. He cared about patterns, the tiny wheels of his toy cars, and the soft hum of the washing machine in the laundry room. Most days, the mansion echoed with one thing Robert hated the most. Screams. The other maids couldn't handle it. The sudden crying. The way Michael covered his ears when the blender roared. The way he pushed people away when they moved too fast, too close, too loud. "He threw his food at me again, sir," one maid had whispered once, eyes shaking. "He scratched me," another complained, showing tiny red marks on her arm. Robert only saw disobedience. "Then control him," he'd snapped. "Or don't bother coming back tomorrow." They never did. One by one, they left. Some after a week. Some after a day. One left before lunch. Soon, no maid lasted more than a few hours with Michael. "Why can't I just get a normal child?" Robert had muttered once, when he thought nobody was listening. But Michael heard. He always heard more than people thought. Tonight, though, the mansion sounded different. It was late. The lights were dim. The staff had gone home. Only Robert and the flicker of the hallway lamps were awake. He was walking past Michael's room, ready to ignore whatever noise might come from behind that door. Silence. For a second, Robert almost smiled. "Finally," he whispered. "Peace." Then he heard it. Not a scream. Not a tantrum. A sound he had never heard from his son before. A broken, shaking sob. The kind that comes from deep inside a chest that's been holding too much for too long. Robert froze in the hallway. Michael, crying. He stepped closer to the door, heart pounding harder with each step. His hand hovered above the golden doorknob. His reflection in the polished metal looked older, tired, almost scared. What could make a boy who never cried like this? Who had hurt him? Or, worse, who had finally left him? Robert didn't know it yet, but that night, on the other side of that door, was the moment everything began to change. And it all started with someone he had barely noticed. The new maid. Sophia. 1 month earlier. "Last warning, Mr. Blake," the agency manager had said on the phone. "No maid wants to come back to that house. Your son is difficult." The word hung in the air like smoke. Robert stared out the window at his perfect lawn. Gardeners trimming hedges into neat shapes. Cars gliding through the gate. All under his control. "Just send someone who knows how to handle children," he replied, jaw tight. "I'm paying you enough." Children. He never said my son. Across town, in a tiny noisy apartment, a young woman tightened the straps of her worn shoes. Sophia Ramirez checked the time on her cracked phone again. If she missed this interview, there wouldn't be rent money. There wouldn't be medicine for her younger sister, Emma. There wouldn't be anything. "Are you sure you'll be okay alone for a few hours?" Sophia asked softly. Emma, pale but smiling, nodded. "Go, sophomore. We need this. I'll be fine. Remember, just don't let them see you're scared." Sophia laughed weakly. "I'm not scared of rich people." She was. Not of their money. Of the way some of them looked at poor people. Like they were invisible. Or worse, disposable. The agency office felt cold, even though the air conditioner was broken. "You understand this child is special needs?" the woman behind the desk asked, flipping through Sophia's thin file. "I understand he's a child," Sophia replied. "And I've worked with kids at the community center. Some of them were autistic. They just needed patience." The woman sighed. His last 7 maids quit. The father is demanding. The boy has meltdowns. Screaming. Throwing things. Scratching. You could get hurt. Sophia thought of Emma's coughing fit that morning. The unpaid bills on the kitchen table. The empty envelope where rent money should have been. I'll take it, she said quietly. The woman raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? You know this is the Blake mansion, right? Sophia had seen it once. From the bus window. Glass. Stone. Iron gates taller than her apartment building. A house that looked like a palace in a city where people slept on sidewalks. Yes, Sophia whispered. I'm sure. On the bus to the mansion, she pressed her forehead to the window. What kind of boy made 7 grown adults give up? What kind of father let his child be described as a problem? And what would happen if she failed too? As the gate opened and the bus drove away, Sophia adjusted her simple blouse, took a deep breath, and stepped onto the polished driveway. Somewhere inside that massive house, a little boy was waiting. He just didn't know it yet. And neither did Robert. That this maid was not like the others. The mansion felt like a museum when Sophia walked in. Marble floors. Gold frames. Tall ceilings. She wiped her palms on her skirt and followed the head housekeeper, Evelyn, down the hallway. Rules are simple, Evelyn said. Speak softly. Never enter Mr. Blake's office. Stay out of the way during his meetings. And Michael? Sophia asked. Evelyn's steps slowed. Michael doesn't like new people, she said. He'll scream. He might push you. Don't take it personally. Just try not to upset him. At the end of the hallway was that white door. Evelyn knocked gently. Michael? It's Evelyn. I'm coming in, sweetheart. She opened the door and stepped aside. The room was dim, curtains half closed. Toy cars lined up in rows along the wall. A small train track circled the floor. Books stacked in careful piles. In the middle of it all, a boy sat on the rug, rocking slightly, fingers flicking in front of his eyes. Michael. He didn't look up. Michael, Evelyn said softly, this is Sophia. She's going to help take care of you. No response. Sophia crouched down slowly, keeping her movements calm. She didn't reach for him. She didn't call his name louder. She looked at what he was looking at. A blue toy car in his hand. Its wheels spun over and over. That one goes really fast, huh? She murmured, more to the car than to him. Blue lightning. The fingers stopped flicking. Michael's eyes shifted. Not to her face. To her hands. She picked up another car. A red one. She spun its wheels too. She whispered. I think this one is trying to catch up, but it's tired. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the blue car rolled across the rug toward her red one. Sophia's chest tightened. Hi, Michael, she said, voice barely above a breath. I'm Sophia. He didn't answer. But he didn't pull the car back. Behind her, Evelyn let out a quiet sigh. Later, in the kitchen, Robert walked in. How bad was it? He asked Evelyn, not glancing at Sophia. Not bad, Evelyn said. Michael tolerated her. Tolerated. Robert scoffed. That's new. Usually they're in tears by now. Sophia swallowed but said nothing. You, Robert said finally. Don't spoil him. If he screams, ignore it. If he throws something, walk out. He has to learn. With respect, sir, Sophia replied. Children don't scream for fun. They scream when nobody understands them. You're here to clean and keep him alive, not analyze my son. He turned and left. Sophia looked down at her hands, still feeling the tiny weight of the blue car that had rolled toward her. In that small movement, she had heard a voice. Would anyone else ever listen? Days turned into a quiet routine. Sophia learned the rhythm of Michael's world. No sudden lights. No loud blenders. No strong perfume. She walked softer, spoke slower, waited longer. Sometimes he rocked in the corner, hands over his ears, breathing fast. She would sit a few feet away, humming a simple tune. At first, he rocked harder. Then, over time, his breathing slowed to match her song. One afternoon, she found him in the laundry room, staring at the spinning washer. "Hypnotizing, isn't it?" she smiled. "Looks like a tiny galaxy in there." He pressed his palm to the glass. She pressed hers next to his. Not touching. Just close. "Do you like circles, Michael?" she asked. "Cars, trains, the washer. Always going around." He made a small sound. Not a word. A hum. Sophia smiled. "Me too." In the evenings, she read aloud even when he seemed not to listen. Simple stories. Gentle voices. No shouting. Sometimes, she caught Robert watching from the hallway, arms crossed. "You're wasting your time," he said one night. "I'm spending it," she answered. He scoffed. "You're sentimental because you're poor. The world doesn't go soft on people like us." "Maybe that's why your son cries so much," she replied before she could stop herself. His eyes went cold. "Careful, Ms. Ramirez." A week later, Robert decided to host a business dinner. "Important investors," he told Evelyn. "Everything has to be perfect. I don't want any scenes. Should we arrange for Michael to stay upstairs?" Evelyn asked. "No," Robert said. "People already whisper. The Blake boy is strange, hidden away. He'll come downstairs. He'll behave." Sophia's stomach twisted. That night, the chandeliers blazed. The dining hall shimmered with crystal and silver. Perfume and expensive cologne soaked the air. Men in suits. Women in glittering dresses. Laughter that sounded sharp. Sophia stood near the staircase as Evelyn guided Michael down. His small hand clung to the rail. The noise hit him like a wave. His shoulders tensed. His fingers fluttered. "It's okay," Sophia whispered from a few steps away. "One step at a time. I'm here." He looked at her, then at the sea of strangers. Whispers started almost immediately. "Is that his son? He doesn't look them in the eye. Why is he moving like that?" A boy in a tiny suit, one of the guests' children, mimicked Michael's hand movements, laughing. A few adults chuckled. Rich laughter. Cruel. Careless. Sophia's jaw clenched. "Stop it," she said sharply. Robert heard her voice and turned. "What's going on?" Everyone was watching now. Michael's breathing quickened. The lights were too bright. The sounds too sharp. The room too much. Sophia saw it happening in slow motion. The storm was coming. And this time, there was nowhere for him to hide. It happened fast. The music, the chatter, the clinking of glasses. Then Michael's hand shot to his ears. His body tensed. He dropped to the floor at the edge of the dining hall, curling in on himself, rocking hard. A glass shattered. Someone gasped. Sophia moved first. She knelt a few feet away from Michael. Not touching. Not crowding. Letting him see her. "Michael," she said softly. "It's too loud, isn't it? Too bright. Okay. Breathe with me. In and out." He rocked harder, a panicked sound stuck in his throat. The boy in the tiny suit laughed. "Look, he's freaking out." His mother tugged his arm, but she smiled too. Rich faces watched. Some amused. Some annoyed. Robert felt heat rise in his neck. The heat of humiliation. "Michael, get up," he ordered. The boy didn't move. "Sir, he's overwhelmed," Sophia said. "He needs the noise to stop, not more orders." "This is exactly what I meant," Robert hissed. "You treat him like he's fragile. He has to learn to behave." A guest muttered, "If that were my kid, I'd have fixed him long ago." Laughter rippled. "He's not broken," Sophia said, loud enough for everyone to hear. He's overloaded. Silence. Robert's face hardened. Enough. Take him upstairs. And when you're done, pack your things. Sophia stared at him. You're firing me? For protecting your son. For embarrassing me, he snapped. Michael's rocking slowed just long enough for his eyes to flicker between them. Sophia swallowed. She whispered, I'm sorry, Michael. I'll take you to your room now. Later, after the guests were gone, the house was quiet again. Sophia's small suitcase waited by the door. As she stood outside Michael's room one last time, nothing felt okay. She opened the door. He sat in the corner, clutching the blue car. His face was red. His eyes were swollen. I have to go, she said softly. I wanted to say goodbye. He stared at her. His lips trembled. Then, for the first time since she'd met him, Michael spoke a full, clear word. Stay, he whispered. The word cut through her. Tears blurred her vision. I can't. I'm so sorry. She stepped back, hand on the doorknob. That's when it happened. The scream that wasn't anger. The cry that didn't sound like a meltdown. A raw, broken sob. The sound of a heart understanding loss. Sophia fled down the hallway, suitcase bumping the stairs. Robert, walking past, heard that sound from behind Michael's door. He had never heard his son cry like that. Not in rage. Not in fear. In grief. His hand shook as he reached for the doorknob. And for the first time in his life, Robert Blake wondered, was the problem really his son? Or was it the way he had loved him? If you were in Robert's place that night, what is the very first thing you think he should have done for Michael? And have you ever misjudged someone just because you didn't understand their world yet?